All right, D-Mac, we got you here, and I did want to talk about it. People asked about it yesterday, but you're here now, and I want to weigh in on it because the Red Wings got a hell of a nice win on Saturday. A hell of a nice win.
Huge, especially before this road trip.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And
2 points.
They were dead in the water. They were dead. They played maybe their worst period of hockey in the second period of that game. But they came back and they found a way and they got the win. And D-Mac, I go back to that show that we did, and it was beginning of January. And I said, D-Mac, I'm getting pissed off. Like, they're circling the drain right now. And you said, yeah, they're not playing well. They're in a spot where they're going to have to, win 10 of 14, win 10 of 15. And I was like, I don't know about that. And then they won. And then they won 10 of 14, and they flipped the season. And now they're in the mix. And D-Mac, I'm not asking you to go game by game. They're going out to the Western Canada trip, and it's a grind. But the bottom line, D-Mac, 30,000 foot. And I know you called for it. You said it's time to make the playoffs, and that sounds great in October and November and December. But D-Mac, now it would be crushing if they didn't make the playoffs. It really would. To me, I would be crushed.
And what do you have to do? Is that I always said is that in the position that you're in, don't look ahead, look behind. And as teams are going, you look at like what New Jersey's suffering right now. They've lost a few in a row. They're sort of scrambling, even though you're winning. Why it's so important is because all the other teams on the Eastern Conference are winning at the same time, right? You want to worry about the team behind. If I'm going by memory right now, right, you're still in the mix, and right now there's a little bit of a separation between what is it like? It's like 4 teams battling for 3 spots instead of like there is some separation, but you're still in there with what the Tampa Bays. Who else is right there? Like, you're still battling, and it doesn't get any easier, Neil. But you know what? Here's where it's at with where you're at with this team. You've done it already. The West Coast in California. You know how to play on the road. It doesn't get any easier going to the West Coast of Canada. This is the toughest trip of the year. But again, you've done what you've needed to do. Now, what are you looking for out there in 4-game road streak at this point? I'd say 2-2, right? If you can get, 2-1-1, bonus, right? But you got to maintain pace. You got Vancouver, you got Calgary, you got Edmonton, you got Winnipeg. Is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, but whatever it is. Doesn't Colorado, right? Yeah. It's the heart. It's the heat. This is what it's all about. So now we'll find out what we're made of. Every team has to go through sort of a gauntlet, but you survived the first one. And why it was so important, Neil, to win 10 of those 14 games and get those points is because this part of the schedule is coming up too. So you have points to play with, like you got off to a good start in the season, but it's not time to relinquish them. They keep getting the goaltending. They're starting to get healthy and, get guys back and stuff like this. I know Robbie Fabry's out for the beginning of the road trip, supposed to join them in Vancouver and stuff like this, but they're finding ways to win. Mm-hmm. And that's why it's huge. And they are getting the goaltending from Alex Lyon. The blessing that I'm looking for is what was one of the question marks before the season. Can Ville Husso be your number one and carry the whole season? Durability, well, you don't have to worry about that. Let's worry about him getting healthy, and if he's got to help out and play half a season, because I don't care. That's because they've figured out a way to keep the puck out of the net, right?
To some degree, to a good enough degree.
A lot better than before.
Right.
So then they can win games. I mean, the most pressing stat was you hadn't been able to win a game without scoring 4 goals. Now they can do that. So, but we're in the heart of it.
Yeah.
So, and to your point, Neil, this could set you up or put you back to where you were and you want to fight the whole way. But I think this team's playing more of playoff mentality.
They're 1 point behind Tampa for 3rd in the division, like not a wild card spot. You know what I'm saying?
You keep, and I'm sure that's your template, right? To stay in pace with them. But it's also looking behind you and keeping that distance. If you can keep that 3-point between you because the NHL is a 3-point game. Why? Because of overtime and shootout, the losing team gets a point. So it's different.
I still hate that. I still hate.
Too. I hate that too.
Why do you get rewarded for losing?
Yeah.
Why? You almost won. Here's a point. For real, I hate that. I've always hated that.
Go ask the lawyer dude running the league in New York.
The lawyer
His name
dude
is
running
G.
the league.
Bettman.
The good news about the upcoming trip, though, no back-to-backs. Tonight in Edmonton, Thursday in Vancouver, Saturday in Calgary, Monday at Seattle.
And then you got Colorado at home.
Yes.
And by the way, Edmonton got shut out the other night in L.A. Connor McDavid, your guy, was breaking sticks over the bench in frustration.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you want to weather a storm first 10 minutes in Edmonton tonight. You got to be ready.
Don't take a penalty.
Dude,
just let him go. Don't take a penalty.
Or this. If you have 2 or 3 early in the game, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised that the ice is tilted. So with this game here, if we can get it to the extra frame anyway and get a point, that's huge. Everything's working against you tonight. Everything.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
You're flying into the storm. So
but
don't take a penalty.
Say there's a chance. Samsonite, baby.
D-Bag, I did want to ask you a question because we talked about it on the morning show, and Sam pretty much guaranteed Red Wings playoff appearance this year.
Oh, fuck.
No.
I know, right?
He's not allowed to talk hockey.
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I would have
Will you
checked.
please?
But listen,
tell him to be quiet. Anyways.
But do you want to call your shot now? Are the Red Wings making the playoffs? And if they do they have enough to make some noise, maybe even win the series?
KG, you haven't been around long enough, but I have clocks.
Yeah.
And you haven't seen the clocks, but I took the clock off at the end of the year. My Lions clock was so dead on.
Spot on.
Every move for 3 years. I took the clock. Steve Eisenman said we weren't a playoff. I took it off at the beginning of the year, and I've been riding to the fact that, yes, at the point, to answer your question, what they put themselves in and where they're at right now, I expect them to be a playoff team. I don't expect a down. They got to figure out a way to get better, whether it's health or goaltending and stuff like this. So absolutely, I've said it all along, right? But more and more, they're proving me right.
Yeah.
Because they continue to play. And games like the other night you brought up against top teams in this league, you don't want to have to go to the well like that. But the fact is, they're learning to be comfortable if they get in that position and not, end of the world. And I think as a fan base, we are too.
Yeah. Rack says DMAC has a very nice clock.
Thank you, Rack. That's right.
Dan Wood says, is there a PFF for hockey? Isn't that like the Fenwick or something like that? There's like some kind of index or something they use. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's one somewhere.
It's unbelievable, right? Like all these stats on whatever. Thank God they didn't have it back in the day because you can't measure hearts, man.
That's true.
Big facts.
That is factual.